Hey, folks. Hey, folks. I'm going to come back and talk to you in a second. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Periscope. Hello, Twitch. Hello, Brax.me. So we are live on all 4 platforms. And I took a risk and played music, even though YouTube doesn't like me to play any music. So I try not to do that. But I did anyway. And let me just set up my devices here. And we can go to our topic. And yes, I'm echoing because I'm switching microphone. And now the microphone is switched. We are now switched. Mama Goo and Marie and D Hama, who's still in North Korea, and who else is on here? Eagle Swords. Eagle Swords, why are you not on YouTube? And Twitty is on. Let me hold on. I've got to switch to YouTube on my phone. So hold on while I bring up YouTube. But I can see there's Twitty and Twist Mint, Storm, and be seeing all of you on YouTube in a second here. Mama Goo, yes, switch to YouTube. Bruce Lee, hello Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's now in the Midwest from Hong Kong. AMG, Entire Meyer, of course. Thank you, Entire Meyer, such a loyal follower. Same with Twist Mints. Thank you guys. You're like the best. You're like everywhere. You're on Brax.me. You're on all of these, and sometimes you're on both Periscope and YouTube. So thank you all. And yes, I'm not paying attention to Twitch. Sorry, but at the moment I just have to concentrate, and I'm sticking to these two platforms. I have my adult beverage, time to see, open, zucking, whatever. Okay, so yes, I've had my adult beverages, but we're going to have a very detailed discussion tonight. Dr. Allcome, you are on, yes, Eagle Swords is also on YouTube as well as being on Periscope. And I appreciate the fact that my Periscope numbers are going down. Hello, Mama Goo is the same. Mama Goo is the same in both places. I couldn't believe it. My Periscope numbers keep going down. It's like it goes up when I broadcast. I don't go broadcast, it goes down. Up, down. It hasn't budged. It's like Brad Pittless. It's like, what the zuck is happening here? Very, very strange. So basically, it's safe to say that I'm my presence on Periscope has gone from VIP, top of the heap, to now a nobody on Periscope, and we don't really care right now because YouTube is doing very well. My subscriber base is growing. I'm growing so fast. I'm gonna be at 2,500 followers, subscribers here on YouTube before too long, and we're gonna end the year at a very high number. So let's hope for 4,000 at the end of the year. It's growing very fast, so that's highly likely that we'll be at 4,000 or something close to that. 3,500 will be the least. So if I keep doing what I'm doing here, and hopefully you guys will support me, and the YouTube channel will keep growing. And the YouTube channel is really the one that's bringing in all the new people, even on Brax.me. Thank you, people. Thank you. Hello, Matthew Vick. How are you doing, buddy? So yes, so YouTube is doing well for me. The algorithm likes me right now. Hello, Starlight. So YouTube algorithm likes me, and it's my growth rate is very, very fast. And no, it's actually summer right now. Blacker privilege. In California, it's in reverse. So it was the beginning of summer was very cold, and now it's still warm. What batch of the Liberum should I wait for? Well, it depends. I don't know what batch I'm on. I may be on the December batch. I have no idea. Do I like reading books? Are you zucking kidding me, Matthew Vick? Are you zucking kidding me? You're asking me if I like reading books? Are you crazy? I must read like 4 books a week. Hello, enlighten up. I hope your problem's been resolved, enlighten up. Yes, I read 4 books a week. So I don't do much else. I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies, barely. And I read every night after my broadcast. Hello, Dutch Maz. Well, YouTube success. No, it's growing to success, Dutch Maz. I would not. I'm a nobody on YouTube, but at least it's growing. Don't wish me congratulations like I'm like some big shot. I am a nobody on YouTube. Ebooks or hardcover books. I am not gonna buy any more hardcover books because if I buy real books, it will not fit into my house. So, do you like packing? And well, what am I packing? Well, I'm always packing, man. Always packing, man. Always. Put that there for you. I'm always packing. Hello, I'm in it. Wow, I try to read a book once a month. I try to read at least a couple of hours a day. Uh, Normally, I read like my reading time is like midnight to 2 p.m., 2 a.m. So if you're trying to talk to me at midnight to 2 a.m., I'll likely ignore you. No guns in Walmart, but they have something else in Walmart. We're going to talk about Walmart today, Matthew. We are going to talk about Walmart today. Hello, Space Force. We are going to talk about Walmart, and we're going to talk about Walmart and MAC addresses. We're going to talk about MAC addresses today. So yes, I'm a big reader. I like to read various things. Often I like to read fantasy. I don't like to read like tech books and things because I'm sick and tired of tech. Uh, CVS says no guns to yet no signs. Why would I buy a gun from CVS? But how many hours of sleep do you get? I try to get the usual, Brad. I try to get 7-8 hours if I can, because my brain doesn't. If I get less than that, I'll take a nap and try to, because with my kind of work, my brain has to be rested or doesn't function. So I'm still getting the usual 7 to 8 every day. So I'm trying. That's at least what I'm trying to do. Everyone in Kentucky owns a gun. It may be the law here that you have to have one. CVS sells pills. That's worth. So many stores say you can't not carry in the store, but they mean open carry. Well, there's no open carry in LA, so that doesn't apply to me. There is no open carry in LA. Only Dianne Feinstein can carry. I deleted my Facebook along with Messenger and Wade. You, Starlight? Oh, come on. That is hard to believe. Really? My question is, how do you delete a post where somebody tags you in their post? I'm finding hard to do. You can't. You have to ask them to untag you. So yeah, you can't really do it directly from you. Thank you, Starlight. So we're going to talk about something. Hello, Mr. H. It's Mr. H here. Oh my gosh, Mr. H is here. We have to carry and conceal here in Kentucky. Pocahontas carries now and carries now in Arrow. What's up, Zuckers? Happy Friday, great goal. So I had my adult beverages. I did imbibe, once a week. I couldn't call myself a big drinker, but I do drink once a week, and that's about it. It's probably not good for my diabetes to drink too much, but so far, no effect on my numbers to drink once a week, which is all I do. So, and it's always before my broadcast right here. And I had mine. I can't type. You had your adult beverages. I got blind last night. Why did you get blind last night? Better be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Yes, sir. Okay, so everything in moderation. Yes, I do everything in moderation. Just a few guns, not too many, a few drinks. Don't be excessive in your meat. Don't be excessive in your vegetables. Don't be excessive with everything. What the pistol you have? You mean this sucking 1911? Colt 1911? It's a replica, of course. This is not real. Yeah, we don't put real ones on broadcast, but this is a prop. Do you read books about guns? So, yes, of course, Matthew, I would. If there's something Do you still have this? I lost the sword, Cactus Sparkle. You haven't seen you in a while. Yes, I misplaced the plastic sword. There you go. Space 4 Droid. Did you change your zucking name again? Space 4 Droid. You're confusing me, man. You keep changing your zucking name. Looks like the weapon I qualified with in the army. Expensive cigarette lighter. Great to be back. Cactus Sparkle. Yes, my goodness. Yes, you've been gone. So anyway, for those of you on YouTube, you may not know this about me, but actually, you had sushi and sake? Well, I had sushi yesterday. Yes, that is a 1911. Is it against Periscope rules to show a gun? It's not against YouTube rules to show a gun, no, but that's a prop. I'm looking for my single droid with, there you go. Yes, M1911. Yes. So this is not in theory, this is not a M1911 because the M1911 is, well, actually, this one is a replica of the original M1911. But usually I don't like the old 1911. I like the 1911A. I have S series, so normally I like the A. So, I mean, if it were real, but this is not real, guys. This is a zucking toy, but it sure feels like the real deal. It's all steel. All steel here. So this is about you can actually disassemble this. It's like a real deal. But that is a toy. So don't come and say, look, he's talking about arms here on YouTube, and we want to ban him. So it's like, suck you. So I'm allowed to talk about what I want to talk about. Free speech. Free speech. Does that airsoft gun shoot pellets? Yes, it shoots pellets. I can disassemble in 4 minutes and put it back together. I don't know. Space Force. I don't know. Some of the newer ones, and I speak about this in theory because I don't know anything. Some of the newer ones have such hard springs that I doubt if you can do it in 4 minutes. Maybe with tools, but it's very hard with the new ones. It's like very tough. They're not really made for field stripping. They're very hard to do. So Cactus Sparkle, you should be on YouTube. Should watch me on YouTube. So, guys, we have an interesting topic tonight. You have a C63 AMG. Why did you get a C63 AMG? Sounds like it's not worth it. Why don't you get an E63 AMG? If I'm going to get an AMG, maybe might as well get a bigger one. So, special tool made to push spring. I can send you one. Even if it's a hard spring, Space Force. Yes, send me one. Yeah, my hard spring. It's very hard. Some of these new ones are made to really push back on the recoil, and they put really super heavy springs on it. So anyway, just a name, AMG got me today. Okay. To say, okay, because AMG isn't here, but AMG doesn't have an AMG. I don't think AMG has an AMG. Okay, so yes, so so if you don't know what an AMG is, then you don't need to know. New iPhones coming September 10th. Matthew Vick, those zucking iPhones. That's what we're gonna talk about. Is these zucking phones? Yes, Levin Meredith, how are you doing, my friend? How are you doing, Meredith? Great to have you here. Okay, so let's see. Some Periscope can watch here on there. How is surveillance work? I don't know. I don't work in the surveillance field. I am not a surveiller. That is not what I do. So we're going to talk about Levin, my friend. How are you doing? Those on Periscope, come watch her on YouTube. Search Rob Braxman Tech Channel. Yes, that would be appreciated. Anyway, the topic tonight is something that I have not talked about for a long time, and and it's actually extremely important. And I've talked about it. Maybe the last time I talked about it was over a year ago. Do you offer scopes in Chinese language? Unfortunately, Dihama, I don't know any Zuck in Chinese. And I don't know any Zuck in Korean either. Glad it's Adult Friday because I had to message you again. Um, I'm on both AMG. Paul, yes, Paul, did you see state? What's that? Did you see the state ads are looking into Zuck book? Well, what does that mean? They're afraid of Zuck. They don't want to attack Zuck. You know Cantonese. I don't know anything. I know Zucking English. That I know. Yeah. So I know English. So I can't speak Korean, Chinese, Japanese. Yes, on YouTube. Thank you. Attorney Generals. Yes, Paul, I know what an AG is. So anyway, anyone use Zuckbook for dating? That's zucked up. So the iPhone is just as bad as the Android, right? I have an Android. I'm going to make a comment. Can you do a Chinese cooking scope? No. You speak Chinese? Hell no, Starlight. Can you speak Canadian? About. I'm going to try. About. If I can say, I have to practice the about. If I can do that, then yeah, actually, when you live in Wisconsin, which I did, you start to sound Canadian after a while. So yeah, about. New dating program on Zuckbook. Excellent. Go do that. About. Yes. So, yeah, though, that's, yeah, about. I see new raw profile here. I didn't change any Zucking profile. Anyway, we're going to talk about the MAC address. So for many years, I've been focusing on the IP address. And I keep telling you about how your IP address is being used to track you and how dangerous it is for you to be tracked by IP address, and which is why I offer you a VPN. I sell VPN, bytesvpn.com, and I have VPN routers. And surprisingly, my VPN router video is actually quite popular, and a lot of people are asking me about the VPN router. By the way, kind of a sideline here. I have a new version of the software for the VPN router for those with the 3B plus, not the old one, the 3B. But if you have a 3B plus, it has a web interface like that now. So the UI is a little different now on the 3B plus. So the new ones look like that. Okay, so in case you're wondering, so it's not like the old look. So it's not like character based. So, and you can access it from any browser. So that's the new VPN router software. So that's available to anyone. If you get a new VPN router, you're going to get that new software. Hello, Savvy. Smart TV is listening in, and make sure they turn on the video too. Okay, so we're going to talk about MAC address, and thank you, Ryan C. Powers. Yes, this is your safe space. The MAC address is something I haven't really focused on much, in the last at least a year, and it doesn't mean that I don't know anything about a MAC address. It doesn't mean that MAC addresses are unimportant. But let me tell you that in the last few months, reading about the MAC address on Facebook's data policy told me that the time has come to start defending the new turf, because we are being battled now on a new turf, which is the MAC address. The MAC address, for those of you who don't understand what that means, the MAC address is how you are chipped. So now once again, these companies say, I know that you don't have a chip on you. My physical product store is on rob.brax.me as always, but it disappeared last week. I did not know the store disappeared. If you're looking for my store a few days ago, somebody just mentioned it was gone, and I did notice it was gone. I was testing something. I forgot to bring it back. So it was gone for a week, which is probably why I didn't get any sales because nobody could find the store. The store is back online. So if you're looking for VPNs and other products, it's over there. So anyway, going back to my story here about MAC addresses. This is the new way to get chipped. The new way to get chipped is with the MAC address. Now, again, a little bit of basics. I do have a new video. The new video is about MAC address being attacked by Facebook. And actually, that's what brought it to my attention that the attacks on MAC addresses are increasing. And that's why I need to tell you about a MAC address and what you can do and why a MAC address is so dangerous. And in fact, you will find out why the only device in existence that can protect your MAC address is the new Librem 5. I'm going to repeat this again because you will find out the context in a moment, or maybe later tonight. The context is that the Librem 5 is the only device that I know of that can protect your MAC address. When you understand how this works, then you'll see what I mean. But Shocking Guy, our friend Shocking Guy here on Periscope, passed me a link on Twitter, or not passed me a link, but sent me a tweet on Twitter relating to apparently some well-known InfoSec guy, information security, meaning cybersecurity guy, that was out there selling hardened Androids. And he was saying that it's stupid of you to get an iOS phone. You need to get a hardened Android. And in case you didn't understand what he was talking about, he doesn't mean that you're going to use a normal Android. What he's saying is that he's selling Androids where he roots the Androids and put some other non-Google version of Android, like Lineage OS or whatever version the guy was loading. And I don't know what the version is, but Lineage OS happens to be one of the more popular ones, which is still not that popular, but popular enough for people on Android. Anyway, and he was saying that, hey, yeah, your iOS phone is not secure. Your Google phone, original stock Android is not secure. So I sell a hardened Android phone, and this is going to be more secure. And I responded to Shocking Guy and said, fake sucking news. Fake sucking news. And I made a video a week ago saying that rooting an Android to get rid of Google is a problem because you're never going to get rid of. He is a very nice guy. Shocking Guy is a very big supporter of mine, and I appreciate it a lot. But anyway, he was just passing on what he knew about this other guy that was talking about selling hardened Android phones, and so somebody like many of you here are like looking for an alternative to iOS and Android, and you're saying, yeah, I don't like iOS, I don't like Android, but I like to be able to use the same apps. And what's my alternative to be safer? And some of you are saying, oh, okay, well, here's something a little bit safer. Let me get a rooted Android, hardened, and it should be better for me. And I'm going to tell you right now that you are not accomplishing anything with that, and especially when it comes to our topic of today, which is the MAC address. Now, the MAC address, first, a little bit of explanation on what a MAC address is. Every device that's on the network, which means every Zucking phone, your computer, my iPad, my desktop here, or my laptop, my Android here. I have so many devices. Hello, Michelle. I got all these devices on here, and they're all in possession of an identifier called the MAC address. So what is this MAC address thing? So in order for you to get on a network, your device needs a network adapter, network card, network interface, otherwise known as a NIC card, NIC. So every device has a NIC card. Okay, back in the old days, you insert a NIC card this big on a desktop. Now it's built into the motherboard of your phone. It's all included in this. It's part of the Wi-Fi. It's included in this. It's included in your desktop. In fact, your desktop has two internet interfaces. One is the Ethernet port, which is for hardwire connection, and one is for the Wi-Fi. And this one has Wi-Fi. So all portable devices have at least one, which is the Wi-Fi connection. And all desktop computers or laptops have two, which is the Ethernet port plus the Wi-Fi. So each NIC card or each NIC interface has a MAC address. MAC means Media Access Control. So a MAC address means Media Access Control address. So the media is the internet. I don't know why they call it media, but that's what it is. Every device on the internet has a MAC, Media Access Control number. Bluetooth is not considered a network interface. So no, Bluetooth would not have. It would have its own identifier, but it wouldn't be called a MAC. So MAC is specific to the internet, and the MAC address. A MAC address is actually quite important. Before the internet showed up, if you were on the old internet, the old networks of the old days, and you were using net, what's that? I'm having a mind block here, but the netware. If you had old netware from netware, what's the name of the company? Not Netscape, but netware was the old original networks, and there's Lantastic. Back in the old days, it was Lantastic and netware were the ways you had a LAN, a local area network system to connect your computers. And to start from that, guys, no, shows my age. No, Netgear is not. It's netware, it's software. So this was going back in the day, and this. Hello, Keith. This was going back in the day. We're talking, early '90s here. So back then, the connection to the NovelNet. There you go, NovelNetware. Thank you. Eagle Source shows his age. Yes, NovelNetware. So NovelNetware was one of the first networks that were popular, and then if you didn't like to pay for NovelNetware, you paid for Lantastic, which was a cheaper version, and there were some other versions, but that was the origin. That was the origin of local area networks and the origin of Ethernet. Ethernet actually came from that. So one of the ways that the computers knew who was around to share was a MAC address. So this is what happens if you don't know what a MAC address is. On a MAC address, what happens is you go into the network and then you say, who's here? Who's around me in my same network? And the command to do that is called ARP. Okay? ARP is the name of the protocol. And if you type ARP, in fact, your network card sends out an ARP request, an ARP protocol request, and everybody says, I'm here. I'm here, and this is my MAC address. So in the old days, there was no IP address back in the old days. In the old days, the only way that computers can talk, the only way that computers can talk was from a MAC address. So not AARP, ARP, ARP. So anyway, so to this day, computers in a local area network, before it goes to the internet, talks to each other by saying, announce yourself using the ARP protocol. So announce yourself and say, I'm here. And anytime that somebody needs to know, I want to talk to a device and I don't know who to talk to, they need to know what your MAC address is. And that's how traffic is redirected on the internet. All traffic is actually directed on your local area network using the MAC address. So just so you understand that. So MAC addresses are kind of incorporated into the current methodology for all networking. So a MAC address isn't needed for the internet. A MAC address is used only to communicate in a local area network, just like the Novell network days. In the internet, you communicate with the IP address. In your local area network, you communicate talking with a MAC address. For the reason that it doesn't really go to the internet, a MAC address has kind of a hidden importance. They're not really considered important when talking on the internet, because the MAC address is not actually used much it's not used at all in the internet. It's only used to talk among yourselves in a local area network, only if there's more than one party. So if you're only one, if you're directly connected to the internet and there's nobody else there, you don't even care about the MAC address. It doesn't have any importance. The problem with the MAC address is it's important because it's on every device and it is unique. It is basically a serial number of every Zucking device ever made. So everyone who has a device has a unique MAC address, and you cannot have a duplicate MAC address by default. So it's when a computer is shipped out of any sort, the manufacturer makes sure that you have a unique MAC address. So every device in existence in the world has a unique MAC address. Therefore, if I know your MAC address, I will know it's you, because there will be no one else in the Zucking universe with the same MAC address. Do you see the importance of that? Therefore, it's like a fingerprint. It's like me taking your fingerprint, because this device will never exist anyone else but in your hands, unless you happen to sell this to somebody else, in which case you can pass it on. Okay? Now, a MAC address is usually not a problem on the internet. That's why there's actually no standard method for blocking it, because normally you cannot see the MAC address, because a website cannot see your MAC address. The only people that can see your MAC address are people in your local area network. So the computer has to be on your network to see the MAC address. So if they're not there, they're not going to see the MAC address. You don't have to worry about a website like Google saying, okay, Google knows your MAC address. In theory, they don't. Facebook said, Zuck that. We want to know your MAC address. And, it takes a while to think, why would they need a MAC address? And I actually when I saw that in the data policy of Facebook, and it says that they are now collecting MAC addresses of anyone on your network, not just your MAC address, but all the MAC addresses around you. I said, what the zuck are they doing? What the zuck are they doing? I'll talk about that, Kelp, although I'm not sure I want to talk to you because you're not on YouTube. Maybe you go on YouTube and I'll talk to you. So what is Zuck doing with a MAC address? And so basically, Facebook is one of the first companies that said we want to really, identify you in more unique ways than we've ever done, because we're Facebook. So we want to make sure that we really know everything about you, more and more and more, and we're going to find ways to know you more, even though we already know you by other means, such as the serial number of your iPhone, your Android device, and device fingerprint. But we want to really know you more with a MAC address. So what is the value of the MAC address? And this is the thing that we don't actually realize, is that your phone, in fact, every device that's connected to Wi-Fi, this is specific to Wi-Fi, your portable devices, every portable device, these, if your desktop does not have Wi-Fi, which is, nobody sells a desktop or even a laptop without Wi-Fi, so that sucks us up. So basically, in today's world, nobody even creates any electronic products without sucking Wi-Fi. So every device with Wi-Fi, the way it works is it advertises your MAC address. It does. So let me again explain this to distinguish between access points or your Wi-Fi router and client computers such as your phone, your computer, your tablets, and your computers. So a access point is out there advertising their MAC address and their SSID, which is the name of the network. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of this. So this is an example of, I'm using Wi-Fi analyzer here, and I blanked out in red. You don't have to, I know you can't really see it, but it doesn't really matter. What I'm showing you here is a list of network SSIDs, meaning access points, discovered by my computer using promiscuous mode. This is the mode that using a promiscuous mode that is built into every Wi-Fi of any modern device made since 2007 or so, back when Facebook became popular. So just about every device, every Wi-Fi will advertise itself with an SSID, meaning the name of the network, and the MAC address, which I haven't read, so you can't see it. It's very dangerous to actually show, and the reason I don't show the MAC address is you can find my exact location if you know the MAC address of anything around me. So that's why I block it out. So I don't show wireless MAC addresses. In my video, I show MAC address, and you're going to say, hey, you showed a MAC address in the video. Don't worry, the MAC address I showed you is wired. Wired MAC addresses have no value. What they're looking for are, as far as Wi-Fi, as far as access points, are wireless MAC addresses, things that you can sniff on the internet, on the airwaves. So your access point, every few seconds or every second, your access point is sending out a beacon saying, I am the router, I'm Rob's router. My SSID is Rob, and my MAC address is whatever my MAC address is. And I announce myself. So these are all the networks near me that are announcing themselves. Okay, so it is known, and I've told you this many times, that your networks are announcing their MAC address, and Google's actually aware of this, and they're capturing every MAC address of every router and the GPS location, and storing that into a database. So they have a database of every single router, the MAC address of the router, and the location, and that's used to track your location. Now, what's changed now is that, and this is what people don't actually understand, is that every device is actually sending out a MAC address. You know, if you're not a hacker, you may not understand this. You may not know this. I'm telling you, as somebody who's, has a particular set of skills, I'm telling you that I can scan, and in fact, I can put it on a Raspberry Pi and install it anywhere and say, okay, I want to scan the network for MAC addresses of anyone that's approaching me. I could spot a MAC address before it even enters my house. I could spot a MAC address of somebody outside the door if you have a phone in your ducking pocket. I can say, I see a MAC address that I don't recognize. What is it doing here? I can see a MAC address trying to hack me. I can see a MAC address trying to get into my network. I can see a MAC address going to my neighbor's network. I can see a MAC address driving by. I can see a MAC address not doing anything and just... So anyway, what we don't know is that your device, and I'll explain exactly how that works, your device also sends out this MAC address just like the access point. It's a little bit different though. Okay, it's a little bit different. So your access point emits the MAC address on a regular basis because it's the only way for you to find out through something called promiscuous mode that a network exists for you to join. So you have to ping the network, so to speak, and say, are there any APs or access points out there I can connect to? And for that reason, the access point has to actually announce itself every few seconds, and that's what they do. What's different here, guys? What's different is that your phone also does what is called a probe. This has probes. So when the phone is active, like right now, this phone is being used. This phone is active. This phone is connected to Wi-Fi right now. When the phone is active and you are using it, it's actively pinging or probing the network every few seconds. So every few seconds, this sends out a probe. And, I haven't had the time to actually figure out, how often they probe. But I saw documentation that says it probes for, let's say it probes for 1 second. And if you're not using it, it will probe for 2 seconds. Then it will probe for 4 seconds. And then it will probe for 8 seconds, then 16 seconds, then every 30 seconds, and every minute until it probes only if you're not using your phone in its inactive state. It may only probe every 8 minutes or so, according to the study from the one that I read. So I didn't actually know. You have to actually go figure out how often they probe. But the devices, as it turns out, probes anywhere from a second, every second, to as much as 8 minutes. Okay? So if this thing is probing, then what it's doing when I say probe, it's sending out a WLAN, which is the Wi-Fi LAN, is sending out a radio packet. It's sending out a radio transmitted signal in digital over the airwaves, and the packet includes the MAC address and the signal strength. So you're transmitting and saying, I'm over here with this kind of signal strength, and I have this MAC address. Anyone around? And any APs around nearby that you can send me a acknowledgement and send back your MAC address. So this thing is constantly transmitting your identity, kind of like an active RFID. This thing is actually sending out your identity everywhere your duck can go. Now, many of you don't realize this. So what I'm actually trying to tell you is that I can make a device. In fact, hackers know this. This is not common knowledge, by the way. A lot of people don't know this. So I'm telling you, because I know this, and anyone expert in cybersecurity know this. I know which programs to use and how exactly to do this. And in fact, I'll probably install it on a Raspberry Pi because it can be used for security. Um, a MAC address detector can be quite useful. A MAC address detector can identify if somebody has been to your neighborhood before. For example, if you come in here, if you've been to my house and I've recorded your MAC address and I've seen you before, if I detect a new MAC address, either you have a new phone or you're a new person, I could create an alert that says somebody just walked in here with a new address, MAC address. Who is that? I can identify phone by who makes it. Is it Android? Is it Apple? Who are you connecting to? Are you connecting to my network? Are you connecting to my neighbor's network? And create a database of behaviors. Now, if you understand what I'm talking about and what this can be used for, maybe not. So I'm going to kind of be black and white about this. I could easily make a device and install it at Walmart. And they probably have this already. I can install a device at Walmart and say, let me find out all the MAC addresses of all phones that walk in through the doorway of Walmart. If you walk into Walmart, I'll capture your MAC address. If you're at Walmart, maybe I'll find out which aisle you're on. If you go to the register, maybe I'll know that you went to the register based on your MAC address. So, if you understand what I'm talking about here, you have just been zucking chipped. You have just been zucking chipped. And I just want to make sure that we understand this. Hello, Randy. Randy, do you sell MAC address tracking hardware? Do you sell MAC address tracking hardware, Randy? Is that a product that you guys sell? Because that is, can you imagine the usefulness of that? If I put a MAC address tracking device in places, then I can actually track behavior just by seeing the presence or absence of a particular device. I can say, oh, look, Kelp just went to Walmart. Kelp to government agencies. There you go. So, just me pausing? No. So, Randy knows what I'm talking about. So, if you walk into a federal building, it is likely that they can track that you walked into the building, to the federal building, with your particular phone with its MAC address. Okay, the stream is breaking up. The stream is breaking up where? Stream is breaking up, yes. Stream is, hold on. The stream is unsteady. But it's, okay, let me just wait and see if it's recovering here. Looks okay now, but yes, the stream was unstable. Okay, there we go. Okay, so sorry, I wasn't looking at it, and I just saw that the stream was stopping. Okay, so looks like it's steady now. Okay, so for a moment there, it was. In fact, I wasn't paying attention to it because I thought it was just YouTube. I mean, a Periscope. But yes, it was stopping from my end. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to keep an eye on it while I'm here. Anyway, you don't have to come back in because I can see it's on my end. If you knew this, why are you wanting to tell us this info now, $80? Because it's crazy, and it's time we spoke out and say, "Zuck you, mother zuckers, who do this," and time to fight back. There's only one device that I know of that can evade a MAC address tracking, and there's a physical way you can stop MAC address tracking otherwise, and that's with a Faraday bag. Okay, so if you have a Faraday bag, you can put your phone in the Faraday bag, and that should stop the MAC address from leaking out. Other than that, the Librem 5 phone, which has been announced that it's going to ship uh, in batches starting in September, and I don't know which batch I'm in. I could be in the December or March batch. Actually don't know when I'm until I get an email from. I don't know what batch I'm on, and since I haven't seen anything yet, then maybe I'm not on a not on any batch that's gonna be happening soon. It's gonna take me a while to get one. But the difference is that I told you about this guy selling Android phones. Going back to this hold on, signal fading. Signal fading. Hold on. Hold on. It's really bad here. Okay, it's coming back now. Coming back. At least it's not completely disconnecting here. Okay, hold on. Okay, so my network is getting screwed up here. So anyway, it's coming back. So coming back. Let me see. I don't want to keep talking and then it will start dropping again. Okay. So Stephen says MAC address tracking doesn't seem very practical. Well, they found a way to make it practical. Again, you have to understand the context of how you can track this. Since I know a MAC address is unique, all I have to do is put a device, which I can easily build myself here. If you, I could sell you one if you want. I'll sell you a device that says, okay, look at all the MAC addresses coming near me, and then you record and maybe associate a MAC address with a person. So even when they're just simply approaching you, you will know that they're in the neighborhood within the range of the Wi-Fi, which could be much further away than you can imagine. Your device can say, I see somebody approaching me, and it has a MAC address that I've cleared in my whitelist. Therefore, don't set the alarm. I could do that because we could actually say, let's track history of MAC addresses. Now, again, why is this important? It's important because there are companies now that are doing mass collection of MAC addresses, and that main company is Facebook. So Facebook now knows your identity. Now, let me just make sure that we understand this. Facebook has your identity. They know your full name. They know who you're connected to. They know who your relatives are. They know where you live. They know from your photos, facial recognition. They know your location. They don't know a lot about you now. So Facebook now knows you. Now Facebook knows your zucking MAC address. Facebook now knows your MAC address. Facebook now knows all the MAC addresses of everyone in your zucking house. So Stephen, pay attention to what I'm just saying. Before, this data was not all that useful until Facebook said we're going to do a mass collection of MAC addresses. So Facebook now knows every Facebook user, which is most of the population, and your Zucking MAC address if you use the Zucking app. Now, what does that mean? It means that anyone with a Facebook app can find out all the MAC addresses of anyone in the neighborhood, or there is an external device on the network that can actually look for MAC addresses at Walmart, at the police station, at the courthouse, at wherever anyone makes a device with a MAC address. And if they correlate that to the database that's on Facebook, then they will know your exact identity. They will say, oh yeah, you're the one with this Facebook account with your real name. I know who you are. I've seen your MAC address before. Okay, hold on. Signal. Crazy with goodness. I don't know. Maybe everyone's watching Netflix. Very unsteady here. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Just very bad network connection. Yeah, and I don't know if it's a server or the ISP, or I don't know where the problem is. Hard to gauge because I'm hard to gauge. No, this is not going to Bytes VPN directly. It's going to a server. And okay, looking at it now, I think I was just on the wrong Wi-Fi. I'm actually wired, but I have a backup Wi-Fi here. So looks like it kind of fixed itself. So anyway, sorry about that. So Randy just confirmed that they are able to sell this kind of hardware to government agencies, which is a device that can spot MAC addresses. So my point is that how do you stop this device from sending a probe that announces the MAC address? The only way, hello Lavelle, the only way to stop this device from sending a MAC address is by putting it in a Faraday bag. Put this in a Faraday bag, or get a Librem 5. Librem 5 is a very important solution here. There's actually no solution that is considered secure. I don't fucking care if you're going to tell me that you have a Zucking Android that's so Zucking secure. That's not secure if you're using normal hardware. iOS, Android phone of whoever made the phone isn't going to be safe because the firmware is the one sending the Zucking probe. The probing that sends the MAC address is built into the Zucking firmware. This is what I've been telling people over and over. It's the Zucking firmware that is causing you to lose security. It's not even something that you can alter on the phone itself with software. Firmware means the program is part of the chip. Firmware means software on the chip versus the operating system in RAM, and it's not running in RAM, it's running on the chip itself. And that's why you can't stop it, because there's no way to control it. So all these devices are emitting all these things, and we're not even talking about RFID. Now, as you know, you're also emitting an RFID if you have one of those newfangled driver's licenses that the TSA is now requiring, that require you to have these, new identity cards that have a RFID chip. You have to take out the battery. How do you take out the battery on an iPhone? Would you like to tell me how you do that, Boris? So no, you can't do that, but a Librem 5 is the only device that I know where it has a hardware switch. Yes, Tony. Tony's still mad at me. So Real ID, yes, Eagle Soar. So that's the problem that I'm talking about, is how do you stop the zucking MAC address? And the only way to stop it, so I carry two phones, two SIMs each, and the main phone, use the others as an access point to our iOS. Yes, Randy, but all of your phones are announcing their MAC address. So if you have 4 phones, all 4 phones are announcing their MAC address everywhere you zucking go. And all I have to do is build a device that tracks MAC addresses, and this is something that come on, Boris. What is this Fairphone going to do? It's in the firmware. So if you buy a standard device, it has Wi-Fi on it. It's I did the bug cheese. I don't know, Tony. I didn't waste time on that. So the solution is put your device in a Faraday bag, or get a Librem 5. That's the only solution I know of. I just don't want people to lie and say, I have a secure solution, because there is no secure solution other than to actually block the device from sending the probe. These devices send a probe, and I told you how frequent the probe is. The probe if the phone is not being used, it basically doubles the time that it sends out the probe. So if the first probe is sent out at 1 second intervals, then it switches to double that, until it reaches about a period of about 8-minute intervals. So if you're not using your device, the probe will only come out of the device every 8 minutes. But if you're using it, if you lift your phone up and it goes active like this, then it will actively start sending out the probes again very, very frequently. So if the phone is in your pocket and you walk into a building, your phone may not ping for a while, may not ping the probe for a while. It may take a few minutes. But if you pick up your phone, and say, let me look, I'm gonna go look at my Facebook and see what's going on. The moment you pick up your phone, it then starts sending out a probe. And what is the probe? It sends out a probe for access points, and the probe includes the MAC address in the radio packet that it sends. I actually I wanted to actually learn this for myself. I actually wanted to scan the radio waves. As you guys know, I have a ham radio license, and I actually wanted to scan the radio waves with my. I have a receiver transmitter called a Blade RF. And I actually wanted to track and see what the radio signal looks like for the WLAN. So maybe I can write my own stuff. I don't know if I have time to do that because there's already commercial packages, open source, not commercial, but open source packages that can already allow you to look at MAC addresses. So all I have to do is actually use the data. So I can actually make programs that say, let me use the MAC address data and compile a database that can track people and associate them with certain activities. So you can do that with all these sensors that sends a MAC address. It's really crazy. So basically, you think you're hiding, with a VPN, and you say, okay, I'm protected, I have a VPN. Unfortunately, the battle isn't that simple. The moment we block our one avenue for them to attack us, they always come up with something else. So now Facebook and others have said, they're going to come and block us with, identify us with browser fingerprinting is one, and now with a MAC address. Sorry, I think you lost the signal there. So again, to repeat, that we are once again being attacked by people saying we're gonna track you like Facebook with a browser fingerprint. If that doesn't work, we're gonna track you with a MAC address. Yes, I'm sure you're happy with your zucked up NordVPN. Yes. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to emphasize today, is that we have a little bit of a problem, and this actually shows you why the Librem 5, and the Librem 5 unfortunately has a lot of limitations. The phone is going to come with very few apps. It will have calling and texting and messaging, and that's about it. And you're going to have to load like Linux apps on it, and your favorite apps are not going to be there. And the only way you can go access the things that you like to do, like Facebook and so on, will be to go to their website, which is great. Great for me. I don't need to go to any website, to any app. I am very happy with just going to their website. Now, so here's the problem I'm going to tell you about apps in general. In order for Facebook to capture MAC addresses, and by the way, I don't really care if some small app company captures a MAC address, because they can't do anything with it. A MAC address, if you have a handful of MAC addresses, isn't going to really, they're so unique, you're not going to spot them in the wild. So it's not going to help you. The only company that can make use of a MAC address would have to be someone huge, someone that ensures that almost everywhere you go, there's somebody using this app. And Facebook, Instagram are two examples of this. So if they track a MAC address using Facebook and Instagram, which they are, then any Facebook and Instagram user will have a matching MAC address that identifies you, and that information can then be used anywhere. Any solutions, the solution is a Faraday bag. That if you want the MAC address not to be tracked, you have to put this in a Faraday bag. Or use an older phone with a removable battery. For example, an older, like a BlackBerry. Hello, Lenny PR. If you have an older phone, you can take out the battery, and then, of course, that will solve it. Can you explain the Librem? It's a matrix-powered smartphone natively using end-to-end encrypted decentralized communication in its dialer and messaging app. I'm not following. Hello, Pizza Loving Nerd. I just watched your Librem 5 video. Thank you, Pizza. Okay. Society Reign Chaos is in the house. So, huge debate, my good friend. You need to talk to me more. In case you guys don't know, Huge Debate is a awesome resource. And like me, he's kind of an insider, and he knows what's up. So, pay attention to Huge Debate. Pay attention to that guy. He doesn't like talking to me now in private, but he should, because he's quite a. We can relate, the two of us. Huge debate. So anyway, well, knowing your MAC address is not any use, is not of any use. It's when somebody collects a massive database of all the MAC addresses. Now, here's the other thing that signal dropping. Okay, signal dropping, recovering. Okay, recovering. Sorry about that. So, fortunately, it's not dropping it's not going to zero. It's like going down, and maybe it's because everyone's watching Netflix in the neighborhood or in the world. Maybe, it's the Netflix hour. So stream went offline for a sec. Yes, it did. The stream went off. It's still unsteady here. Stream is unsteady, and it may be because my ISP is getting pummeled with Netflix. Sorry about that. It's kind of unsteady even now. It's working, but is this a T-Mobile Netflix thing? No, 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 no. This is Spectrum. I'm on Spectrum, so Spectrum is causing my connection to drop, and yeah. Well, at this hour, everyone's watching Netflix, and who knows. Okay, so sorry about that, and at least it's not cutting the stream completely. Videos are much more steady, and videos are much more reliable than this. So anyway, and thanks for watching, Pizza Loving Nerd. Okay, so back to what I was talking about, and this is why the Librem 5 is the first device, and hopefully more devices will follow like this. The Librem 5 is the only device with a hardware switch so you can just turn off the Wi-Fi. So what happens if you have a Librem 5 and you decide that you're going to use cell and turn off the Wi-Fi? Again, just theorize with me here. So you're using your cell phone, you're talking to somebody on your cell phone, or you're texting, and then you turn off Wi-Fi. It's actually not a bad idea. Not a bad idea to do this. And let me just tell you, if you have a device like the Librem 5, if you get one, you turn off the Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi triangulation stops. The Wi-Fi then will not probe for Wi-Fi's, which will actually block sending of a MAC address. What's left is the cell tower. Now on 4G, they just tell you which cell tower you're on. That's all they can get, and typically that's like a mile square. So you're inside the 1 mile square area with a cell tower, but they don't know exactly where you are, at least until they get to 5G. So in 4G, they just know you're in the cell tower. So if you actually turn off the Wi-Fi and just leave on the cell, then the cell will track you in its limited way, and the GPS will track you, so you have to turn off the GPS as well. But if you turn off the GPS and turn off the Wi-Fi, then the cell tower will be forced to track you only by identifying that you're within a cell area. And that's all. Thank you, Eagle Source. And that's all they will get. So in theory, that's how that works. Okay? So you can still receive calls, you can still receive texts, but the tracking actually occurs in Wi-Fi. A lot of the tracking occurs in the Wi-Fi. Now, they don't sell computers without Wi-Fi. I would like to get a laptop where the Wi-Fi can be turned off, and then you can go wired. Because if you go wired, then obviously your MAC address will be the wired MAC address, which is not very useful. Why is the MAC address of the wired not very useful? Because your device doesn't travel, and it's not Wi-Fi, so you have to be on the wired network for somebody to track it, so you can't track it by radio. So a MAC address on hardwire is not something that's I ever have to worry about. I'm worried about the MAC address being transmitted using the radio, because it means that you do not have to connect to a Wi-Fi. You don't need to connect. I want to make this clear. I can make a device that can sense every MAC address in existence in my area, and you do not need to touch your phone, and you do not need to connect to a network. You just walk into a Walmart, and I'll know you walked into a Walmart. You don't have to do a single thing. app support won't be an issue for me because my first phone was an iPhone 3GS in 2018, and my second was a Windows phone. Okay. Yeah, but I'm an app developer, so I have iPhone, Androids, I got everything. Display MAC address. Anyway, MAC addresses are very easy to figure out. If you're on a Mac, go on the terminal and type ifconfig. Yes, on Windows, go to properties for a network card and we'll show you the MAC address. Yes. So a MAC address is two parts. The first part is the vendor identifier. Then the next one is the unique device for the vendor. So you can find out the vendor of any device by just looking at the MAC address. Now, I haven't done this yet. I did it as a special request for somebody. One of our friends here said, could you alter the MAC address of my Wi-Fi router, the Brax Wi-Fi? So I gave him a command to alter the MAC address on the Wi-Fi router. I did not make this a permanent feature of the router, but given my discussion now about MAC addresses, I will actually do that on my Wi-Fi router, because if the MAC address is fake on the MAC address on the VPN router that I sell, then it will screw up Facebook. They will not know who you actually or where you actually are. So, okay, hold on. Now I have an Android phone. I still have to get used to bad app support. I do not need YouTube apps. I do need YouTube apps, though, for my channel. Well, you need YouTube apps to watch me. Okay, hold on. I am 14. I make videos about FOSS. Okay, pizza. Oh, you do, pizza loving nerd. Okay, you're like a big FOSS fan. Okay, no wonder you're like into Librem. Okay, so for some reason only one of my 3 comments showed up. Yes, because I don't know, it got censored. Pizza loving nerd, it got censored, and I don't know why it got censored. There's something that you mentioned that it thought you were spamming, and it should show up now. So Boris Delic, Rob is not selling the phone. He's just telling us about it, but it will go on sale. No, I'm not selling you Librem 5. I'm just telling you how it works. I told you not to buy Librem 5 until I've tried it and showed you some of the limitations of it and if it'll work or not. Let me take the risk. I'm not asking you to take a risk and go take a Librem 5, buy Librem 5. Twitty bought Librem 5, and some of you did buy Librem 5, but I am not suggesting that in any kind of a way. I'm saying that I will get it and do a review for you and show you. And I actually started setting up an environment so I can start programming on the Librem 5. So it's showing up now. I need YouTube apps for uploading and viewing comments. Pizza loving nerd, no, you should be able to see it on your normal YouTube, but it got censored. That's the only reason. Okay, so anyway, before I get it, we will continue this. We will continue this topic on MAC addresses because this is really scary about the implications of this. But we will take a commercial break because I want to talk to you about this. Now, this is a finished product. This is a Brax SecureNet. Can you see that name? Brax SecureNet alarm. You see the name on there? Brax SecureNet. Okay. So this is actually a reject case. So it has some cosmetic problems. So I use this. Okay. So this is a Brax SecureNet. Let me just plug in the sound so you can hear it because it's not loud enough for the broadcast. So hold on for static here. Sorry. Okay, so this is the in black because Twitty said she wanted it in black. So the first batch is all in black. And then I'll get back to talking about Librem 5 and the signal dropping. Signal slowing down. Hold on. Signal slowing down. Signals. Okay, recovering. You can't see the word Brax. It's so big. It says Brax. Where the red light is, it said Brax. Where you see the red lights, it says Brax on it. Okay, now what is this exactly? This device is one of the products I built. This is a custom case, and it's an alarm system. It's a personal alarm system. And what's so neat about this alarm system is that you do not need any kind of subscription or any kind of monthly plan or any kind of monitoring or anything like that. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple because all you have to do is when you want the alarm, and you may want several of these for different parts of the house, and you can have it auto start, and all you have to do to start it is hit the button.
Sequence initiated.
Just press the button, and then it will activate. So we'll leave it there. It will activate. And it will start in about 40 seconds or so. Every 10 seconds it beeps.
Alarm is active now.
Okay, so now this thing is now in tracking mode. If I move, it has to be a big movement. So if I move a finger or mouth, it's not going to do anything. But it's radar, and it actually covers all around 4 to 6 meters, meaning 12 to 18 feet around. And if it senses any motion, the alarm will go off. So if I move, then in a few seconds it should activate the alarm.
Alarm. Police alert.
Now what that does is immediately sends a notification on your phone that says your alarm fired. And this is just one of the products. The other one is the camera. So this is not the camera, it's just the alarm of a camera system with motion detect, and that will capture every motion and store it on the flash drive off the camera, so you can access it when you get home, or it can forward the video to the cloud. Now what's unique about these devices is they are actually not accessible from the internet. You cannot control this from the internet. Cannot. So this one is blocked. This is actually completely wireless. This is a Wi-Fi version. Some of the other boxes have a opening for the wired if you want to plug it into your Ethernet. If you have an Ethernet and you want to plug it in, it's better because someone could block the Wi-Fi if they can detect using a MAC address. So let me just explain that to you again. A device, any security camera, I can know you have a security camera on Wi-Fi. For example, some of you have Ring. Okay, let me just tell you, Ring is a very stupid product, so don't ever get a Ring. Okay? Because you're not only exposing your voice to Amazon, you're saying, I'll send you my photos to Amazon. So you not only have a voice that you're keeping, but also have facial recognition that you're keeping, since Amazon has the facial recognition that it applies to Ring, and Ring is connected to the police departments. So they're asking police departments to sell you Ring. So you're being fooled into saying, we're going to be part of the surveillance system of zucking Amazon. So don't do that. But in case you didn't know, a Amazon Ring, the one that you put on your door, is solely based on Wi-Fi. There's no wired option. Now, let me just tell you how I would attack a Ring device, because I can easily attack Ring devices. Okay? So this is just so stupid because they just don't even know cybersecurity. My camera, by the way, is wired. It can run Wi-Fi, but I prefer you install it wired. And why is that? Because if you have Ring, which is Wi-Fi only, what happens is I can use the MAC address sensing to find out the MAC address of your Ring device in your camera, because I can find out the maker of the device, and I'll say, oh, you have a Ring camera and you have a whoever the maker is of your security camera. Oh, I found out you have all that, and it's on Wi-Fi. Therefore, what am I going to do? I'm going to block the signal on the Wi-Fi, interfere with the signal on the Wi-Fi to break the connection. This is simple stuff to do. Okay, I can send traffic on the network on the Wi-Fi to block the Wi-Fi traffic and disconnect your camera and your Ring, and then I can walk in the door and attack you, and you're not going to know. So that's just so you know. Anyway, this device is also Wi-Fi, but I have ones that can go wired. So you can kind of specify if you want the opening for the wired. So this one is a Wi-Fi only. So I guess it kind of needs a sophisticated attacker to do what I'm talking about. But if you're able to install a wired, then you should. If you can't because you don't have a wired connection, then the way to make a wired connection is to put something called a power line, and then you can put a wired connection using power line. Otherwise, you have to use Wi-Fi. So again, how does this work? Again, to demonstrate this again, it's a very, very simple device, and
Alarm sequence initiated now.
And this will be selling for an introductory price of $129. I cannot keep that price for a long time. It will have to go up because of the expense of all the parts on it. So I'm hardly making any profit at $129, and I can make you a jammer. You want me to make you a jammer? I'll sell you a jammer. I can also sell you a bug detector. I'm going to make bug detectors. I'm going to make bug detector jammers, and actually jammers probably illegal, so maybe I can't sell that. Okay, maybe it's illegal. So
Alarm is active now.
by the way, this works. It operates by radar. This operates by radar, so that's how it senses motion. So
Alarm. Police alert.
it senses motion by radar, which is kind of nice because you don't need to have any setup. Just put it in near the entrances of your house, and it will. And anytime anybody walks into this large area, it will set the alarm. If you have a big house, put it in the commons areas where you expect any bad guy to enter, and then put it in in those areas, and you may need more than one. And a bug is illegal, so a jammer should be legal. I think that any kind of interference on radio is banned by the FCC. So I know as a ham license, I have a general license, and I know that you can't jam. So jamming is not legal. However, you can test a jamming device in a lab, especially somebody like me with a license. Okay, so I can test it with called a dummy load antenna. So that would built-in infrared LEDs hidden in the brim. That would built-in infrared LEDs. This does not need infrared LEDs because it's sending radar already. Okay, so this is sending radar. So this is a pretty nifty device. I already have. We're building stock of these. This will be available in October for about $129. Don't buy any sucking ring, and so you may want to reserve your copy or your version of this. If stingrays are legal, jammers should be legal. You would think custodian, but the thing is, stingrays are licensed to government entities only. If you're not a government entity, you're not supposed to have your own Stingray, even though you can make one. Jamming is only legal every third Tuesday night. Yeah. So anyway, I'll be. This is the Brax SecureNet alarm, and then there's the Brax SecureNet camera. This is how the camera looks. So this is the camera system, and the camera is a. And I don't have a case for the camera to show you yet because we're revising the case, but it will be ready in a few days. And the camera's working perfectly. I have one outside mounted there, and it's sending out high resolution HD video with fisheye lens, day and night, and very very clear at night if you have the proper illuminators. And it has built-in storage, and so it's a very high grade camera that you can mount outside using just a Ethernet cable. So that is going to be available also at the same time in October. So that's going to be the same with this. So some of you will want maybe a couple of these and maybe a camera. Some of you may want just a camera. Some of you may just want this. But this is so simple because with one of these, you protect your house or your apartment. You don't have to put sensors in the doors, nothing. Just
Alarm sequence initiated now.
Just hit the zucking button and you're done. Hit the button. And that's all you have to do. And it will not call anyone. So it doesn't matter if you open the door and the alarm goes off because you know who you are. So, but it will, if you're not home, it will alert you. And then you look at the camera and see what the zuck is happening. So that's going to be available on October 1. And we're rapidly ramping up production. So we have a stock of these. And they're kind of hard to build. They're handmade. They're handmade electronics. We build our own circuitry here. So I showed you the circuitry inside. And those are all handmade. If you get one of these...
Alarm is active now.
Uh-oh.
Alarm. Police alert.
I'm holding it, so then I set off the alarm. Okay, so and I can see notifications being sent on my phone. So you press the button again to turn off when you return home. No, you can leave it to automatically restart Eagle. You can say reset the alarm in 1 minute, reset the alarm in 5 minutes, reset the alarm in an hour, so that it won't fire once it fires again for whatever time you set. Then you don't have to press the button. So if you know you're going to be home, and it's in the living room and you're going to go to sleep, you can block and say, don't fire the alarm between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. because you know you're up and about. And then fire the alarm only after 10 p.m. So you can put a time clock. So, Rob, RE Private, I am always available. Huge D-Byte, are you sure? Are you sure you're always available? Are you accepting pre-orders yet? I'm not. Just drop me a note if you're going to order one so that I can reserve a copy so I know we have enough. You don't need to pay or anything. I just need to know if you're going to order. Then I can kind of like pre-mark because a lot of them already, a lot of them are taken. Kind of like a Librem 5. These are kind of popular. So I would say a lot of these are already, it's $129 for this, for each of this, and then the camera is $249. This will not be the permanent price. This will likely go up to more. This will likely go up. Thank you, Girl Rush fan. Good to see you again. This will likely go up higher because I'm not making a profit hardly. I mean, if you knew how long it took to make one of these. If you know how long it takes to make one of these, it takes a lot of labor. So we can only make so many of these. So I'm trying to build a stock of 100, and it's going to take a while to even get to 100 of these because they're kind of hard. We're soldering each board individually, so these are individually made. So
Alarm sequence initiated now.
Okay, so that's the alarm system called Brack Secure Net. And you can buy Ring and Simply Safe and all of these and buy their subscription, and you'll be out thousands of dollars before you know it. So if you want to do that, you can do that. If you want to pay thousands of dollars for the security system, go to Ring, Simply Safe, and you know, that's crazy stuff. So anyway. So you press the button again to turn off when you return home. So anyway, you could just set it for a time slot notification.
Alarm is active now.
It's not connected to Amazon or Ring. It does not. You cannot access it from the internet. Hello, nerdy. You cannot access it from the internet. You still need my help. Yes, there is no way you can access this from the internet. This is part of the security. And if you want it with a wired network,
Alarm. Police alert.
make sure that you ask for the one with the open Ethernet port. 'Cause this box is sealed. Okay, and this one is the one I'm using here is not a smooth finish. That's why I'm using this for demo, because there's some defect. Okay, so but we have a stack of boxes now, and this will be ready. By October 1. I'm just keep testing it, modifying the software, and just making sure the software's finalized, but the hardware, everything is all done. Okay, so again, that will be something that you may want to plan on for the holidays. Maybe one or more of these, and I still sell the VPN routers as well as the VPN. The VPN routers I showed you here has changed. You can now see that it has a different interface. You can now access the VPN router using a web. So the other boxes do have the internet and USB showing. You can select. We have a few of them that don't have the Ethernet showing, so it's a cleaner box. But it's about half and half. Half of them have opening. So if I know you want the opening, then I can give you the opening for the Ethernet. Okay, so it will be available with Ethernet opening. Now again, I'm just telling you that if you have Ring, Simply Safe, and all of these devices, and you're asking me if I know how to attack those devices so the alarms don't fire, yes. Just understand, I can hack Simply Safe, Ring, all of that, and say, yes, I can make sure. First of all, I can identify that you have Simply Safe, Ring, or any of that just with a MAC address sensor. Is there replay 20 seconds at a time coming through? No, the signal's fine right now, but the signal was kind of dropping earlier. Yes. So yes, this is actually connected to the topic, because the reality is that with a MAC address sensor, I can actually scope your house, walk around with a sensor, and find out all of your devices that are Wi-Fi. Leave and come back in, TR Jim. Just leave and come back in. It's fine right this moment. So I can actually go to your house and say, oh, look, you have a Simply Safe, you have a Ring, you have Amazon Echo. I can actually tell all that. Crazy, but I can. You see how it is? So go get these products and think that's making you safe, and they don't even know that they can be attacked. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yes, I can attack you by saying, okay, now that I know you have Simply Safe, Ring, Blink, what's the other one? Wise, all of these products, Google Nest, and Amazon Alexa, and I said, okay, now let me jam your signal so I can go attack your house, and the alarm won't fire because I will jam your zucking signal. Okay? So, yep. So I know how to do that. That sounds way better than having to deal with people calling us asking if you want to call 911. Mad Cow, I think that the idea of having a service is a zucking scam. So what happens when you have a service like ADT and Spectrum and so on, which I've had for many. I've had every security system ever, and did all the monthly monitoring and spent thousands of dollars on monitoring my house. And every time that the alarm system fires, they call me and say, yes, what's your password? And I said, I don't remember my password. Well, you better get your password or we're going to call the police. And then they call the police. This has actually happened. They called the police. And in fact, one time they were doing repairs and they called the police. And the police came, and guess what the police said? Do you have a permit for your alarm? If the alarm is going to call the police, do you have a permit for that? Otherwise, we're going to give you a ticket for $200 every time your alarm fires. So I said, zuck that. Zuck that. So here in LA, they will fine you a couple $100 if your alarm fires and you do not have a license, which you have to pay every year, which is so many dollars a year that you have to pay the police to have an alarm system that calls them. So I don't need that. I just need to be alerted on my phone that there's somebody is in my house. I'll call the police myself. Then there's no charge for that. They just charge for automated alarms. So Starlight, the problem was that the police were, being called to automated alarm systems, and they're finding it's a false alarm, and everywhere they go, it's a false alarm, and using up all the resources. So they said, we're gonna have to make sure that you don't do that, and the best way is for them to fine you if you called by accident. So then you're reluctant to turn on the alarm. I'm going to tell you this. I was paying, $40 a month for the service, and I was reluctant to use the alarm system, for them to actually do the monitoring, because I don't want the police to get called. So I'd rather that the alarm just goes to my phone, and you have the option for getting it texted to you or having a notification. And your cameras can be accessed only locally, or it can be accessed on the cloud if you have a subscription plan. So by default, it doesn't cost you anything. By default, notifications are free. The camera you only access for your home is free, and you don't need any kind of cloud subscription. The cloud subscription is for those who want it. If you want a subscription, then you pay for that. Otherwise, no need to pay anything. So some of you say, ouch, that's a lot of money. Well, if you know how much you spend, typically hundreds of dollars a year for just the monitoring, not counting the device. This is why when you go to ADT, as an example, they install a $2,000 device in your home with all the labor. It cost them $3,000 because they're recouping it through the monthly fees for the next. They lock you in for 3 years. They lock in for 3 years and say, okay, you cannot, you have to keep paying for 3 years, and that's how they recoup it, because you're paying them monthly. So that's how to recoup those expensive kind of security devices, and you don't need that with this. So this is one way to support the program. Is to be buying this device, which has a Raspberry Pi inside. This is powered by Raspberry Pi and a circuit that I made and designed. So it's completely homemade circuitry inside, and we hand soldered it for you. Okay, so just so you know that. My dad was a cop for 22 years, told me that if you ever have to shoot a burglar, to make sure he doesn't walk away, also saying that the same burglar can wind up suing you. Dead men don't. How much for the cloud subscription? I don't know yet. because in the camera, there's no cost for this. This is free notifications. The camera is sending 5 gigabyte files every day, so every few minutes. So it's sending like gigabytes a day. So I have to measure, there's a cost per gigabyte. So I don't need to make a profit. It's just that it's really costly to collect all the video and upload it. So that's what I'm worried about. So that's the concern. So anyway, so let me go back to the MAC address topic, which is part of this. So again, because I know the MAC address, and I want to make sure you understand this part, that I can go to any home. And by the way, just so you know how I would do this, you build a Raspberry Pi, so it's something similar to this size device. Okay, I can put the software on it to do MAC address tracking. Then I can send the data to my phone. Then I can maybe I have this in my bag, and then I roam around and knocking on your door saying, I'm trying to sell you, I'm with Jehovah's Witness or something, and this sensor is actually in my bag. In my bag, the sensor will actually scope out and tell me what devices you have in your house based on the MAC address. So I'll know if you have Alexa, Echo, Ring, whatever brand of security camera, what kind of TV you have. If you have Apple TV, I will know what devices you have. Actually, I'll know if you're worth robbing just from the MAC addresses. And then I can say, Target. And then all I have to do is then jam the signal, which I can do, to jam the signal to the alarm system and the camera so that it will not capture my face the moment I enter within range of it. This is crazy. Can we make networks with Wi-Fi over ham bands? If you have a ham license, yes. Can you please tell everyone I'm not worth robbing? So Nerdy is not worth robbing. Sounds like you have a powerful tool with this. Yeah, I'm just telling you that my knowledge here is useful in a large amount of ways, and I can leverage that into educating you and giving you tools for this for the future. This is just one in a family. I intend to build on these systems, and they're all built on Raspberry Pis. They're all built on Raspberry Pis. You can rob me. Why? Do you have a gun? So anyway, I spend a lot of time baking these, and it really works. I have to tell you, it does work.
Alarm sequence initiated.
I mean, I don't know what is simpler than that. I walk out of the house. I expect it to fire when I come in the house. But if it fired before I come into the house, then I know somebody else invaded. This is actually useful. I can put it in my bedroom, for example, or next to my computer. If a 3-letter agency came by and accessed my house without my knowledge and attempted to touch my computer, the alarm would go off because it's radar. It will detect anyone approaching nearby. So if anyone comes to my computer, it will not do a 911 call, Don. It will call you. It will notify you.
Alarm is active now.
It will call you, and then you decide if it's look at your video camera to see if there's actually something that happened. Somebody asked, what about dogs?
Alarm. Police alert.
Okay, what about dogs? So I'm going to tell you how this works. Actually, I can test it right here on the piano. The piano is made of metal. If I put it on the piano, it actually doesn't track anything on the ground because the signal is blocked by the metal. So if you want to block it from sensing lower than your table, let's say you put this on a kitchen counter, just put foil on the bottom. Put foil, or put it on a metal, any metal piece, any kind of metal, and then the radar will only go up. The radar will go reflect upwards. Okay, so it's easier to block. In fact, you could wrap the whole thing in radar in foil and then just expose one side, and it will only emit the radar wherever there's no metal. Okay, so it's very cool. Now, one thing that's interesting about this, in case you didn't know, you can actually mount this right by the door. Okay, you can mount this by the door, and this, because it's radar, it will go through the door. So if you approach within 2 feet of the door, so it will actually set off the alarm before you press the doorbell. You know, that I can make that with a different case, the same thing, but probably a different flatter case. But that's what it can do. You can mount this on a door, and it will actually sense outside. You can also put this, in your garage, except if you have a metal garage door, it won't work because it can't get across metal. But you can put it by your window, then it can sense. I think glass will stop it too. But if you put it somewhere, where it has access to the outdoors, it will actually sense even if it's not in your house. The radar will reach outside your house. So it's pretty cool. Can you enable it by voice? Hey, Brax, enable the alarm. That would make it an Amazon Echo, and no, it will not listen to your voice. What do you think of the Haven app? I don't know what the Haven app is, Jigabeavis. And thank you for coming by, Jigabeavis. I don't know. I'll find out what the Haven app is. Someone asked me from YouTube, what do I think of ClamAV and some of these open source antivirus? And the answer is in the antivirus video. I don't really care if you have a open source antivirus. Antivirus actually increases the chances of getting attacked. So the answer is still the same. Just use what's built into Windows. If you have Windows, if you have Linux or a Mac, don't bother, because you're just exposing your device to more attacks by putting an antivirus. So that's already answered in the video. So, and I already gave you a very technical explanation of that. So just installed Pi-hole on a Raspberry Pi tonight. Love it. Okay, David Holmes, you do not need to install Pi-hole if you have my VPN. If you have my VPN, the no ads option already blocks the ads automatically just by using the VPN. So I have that option. So if you're on my VPN, guys, not only do you have an option for a Tor router and VPN router like this, in addition to having the interface to the Tor router and VPN router, my VPN router comes with Tor. You have the option for using Tor if you want. You also have the option for ad blocking. Was listening on YouTube. Haven app is cool. And Gables. Okay, so I don't know what Haven app is, so can't keep up with all that. It's an app that Edward Snowden helped create. Maybe I have heard of Haven app. Okay, let me. He was promoting something last year. Is that the one? Well, we shall see. I don't know. Certainly, Snowden is understands the risk like I do. So I would pay attention to what he has to say. So I'll find out exact. I think I heard. I forgot the name of the app, but I guess it must be this Haven thing. So that was last year that I heard about it. So I will find out what it is. Okay. So for some of you that also want to get in touch with me, And some of you even asked me, one of you asked me, what's my Skype? And please don't try talking to me on Skype. I will not talk to you on Skype. I will not talk to you on Twitter. I will not talk to you on any platform. You want to talk to me? It's easy. rob.brax.me. Type it on your browser. rob.brax.me. That's all you have to do. rob.brax.me, and then you can talk to me privately and with other people. A lot of the people here on my broadcast are on brax.me, and you can talk to people. It's private peer-to-peer sales. You mean for selling crypto, Ann? Thank you, Donnie. I try to talk to everyone on Brax when I can. Going back to YouTube, keep up the good work. Thank you, Ann Gables. So lot of things. We're at risk every day, and the battle is not so simple as saying you need a VPN. Yes, you do need a VPN. Unfortunately, the battle is on multiple areas here, and we have to actually always come up with new defenses. It's never simple. If you think that the battle is so simple, and some of you will give up and say, hell with this, I don't really want to care about the battle, and I don't care about the battle, and I don't really care that they're collecting data. And I want to tell you this story because somebody just talked to me about this. And this just tells you that you can't think like that. So one of you just talked to me today about the fact that this person paid one of these services, like Spokio and Intellius, Axiom, one of those, and pay them for a report about this person's internet profile. And this thing just showed, every bad thing that ever happened in life, including going far back till childhood, anyone related to you that may have had some difficulties in any kind of a way, either financially, credit-wise, legally, lawsuits, criminal, misdemeanor, whatever. Every little mistake in life ever done, and it's stored about you. And now, in addition to that, now you're being profiled for your movements, with your locations, with your app preferences, and everything you do, and all that's being tracked. What church you go to, what your health status is. All of that is now collected and sold on the internet. And I said to this person, because this person was shocked that all the negative things it showed on there, and the thing was, as this person looked at the report, it showed that the issue is that is going to be given to employers. And Nerdy Gal says social scores. And I'm going to tell you, we actually think China is really bad because they're implementing social scores in China, or have implemented social scores in China. And we blame China and we say, who wants to live in China? They're doing social scores. Zuck you, people. They already have it for us. For each and every zucking American, we have more than social scores. We have a detail of everything that is happening to your life. It's being zucking sold. So when you say to me and come to me that you don't really care anymore that somebody's tracking this or that part of you, you don't want to participate in the Brax army that says we want to fight back, and you don't want a VPN, you don't want to leave Facebook, you don't want to take care of issues with how do you protect your MAC address, you don't want to protect yourself with browser fingerprinting and all of this. Well, what do you think is happening? That data is being collected and will go on the record and will actually be applied not just to you but to your relatives. This is the evil that we're dealing with. This is the evil that we're dealing with. The N without is not a new thing, guys. The New World Order. Apparently, I'm going to tell you something about the New World Order, and don't type that. Yes, Nerdy gal is smart enough to type that. Did you know? And somebody sent me this. Did you know that if you mention New World Order, globalists, QAnon, there's a few other words that they have on there. They will say that you're one of those that trigger violence, and so you will be you are being tracked by the FBI. Okay, there's an actual document. Somebody forwarded me the FBI document that shows this, and it says we assess that people are these are triggering terms, and then these terms typically will be the ones that trigger mass shootings and so on and so forth. So they're already calling you. So if you are using any of these terms, maybe Illuminati, whatever, that you are, and there's a bunch of them, that you are apparently, worth surveilling because you use these terms. So be careful. Be careful, people. That's how you think China is scary because of what they're doing to the population. The U.S. is way beyond that. Way beyond that. They've been surveilling us with facial recognition, with all this social score stuff, even beyond credit scores and so on, for many, many, many years. Yes. So basically, they're watching a bunch of conspiracy. No, that's the one of the words. Conspiracy theorists. Yes, Mad Cow. That's actually the general category of terms that they're looking for. Conspiracy theorists. That means if you do InfoWars, yep, you're a conspiracy theorist. Okay, so yes. Anyone that's what I talk about here is not a conspiracy theory. It's real. But because I'm concerned about privacy, then, we might all be targeted and they might say, hey, if you're interested in this stuff, then you must be a conspiracy theorist. Zuck you, mother zuckers. So that's what we're dealing with here. This is why we need to fight back. And this is what I'm trying to talk about here is so zucking mainstream. It's not a conspiracy. This is it's like saying we're stealing money from you, but if you ever claim that somebody's stealing money from you, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, but they are stealing money from me. You can't say that. That's a conspiracy theory. It's just zucked up. Zucked up. So we need to come up with a new language, and anything you type out in letter or number is in lieu of. Yes, so you say Z. For example, zucking IA, zucking BI, zucking National Zucking Agency, IR zucking. What else? Zucking World Order. Just put a Z, put a zuck in anything, and let's mess them up. So, yes, U.S. surveils more than China. Apparently, guys, and not only that, it's handled by private enterprise. It's a mercenary method. They have private enterprise do the spying. Private enterprise gets paid to do the spying, and the government reaps all the benefits. In case you didn't know, and this is a factual thing, Google was founded from money from 3-letter agencies. So if you want to look at the history of Google and how it was funded by venture capitalists, and one of the venture capital firms was actually a CIA NSA fund. So if you're wondering if this is true, yes, go look at the history. The guy that invented Pokemon Go was the same guy that came up with Google Earth, and that was the guy used to work for the NSA, doing geolocation tracking, and then joined Google. Hello, Jason. My goodness, Jason, you're still around. Are we still around on Periscope? I thought we all left Periscope already. How you doing, Jason? Thank you, Donnie. Thank you for contributing. Appreciate it. So this is the craziness that I'm dealing with here, and I'm trying to explain to you that it's kind of a dangerous situation here when even our freedoms are being labeled as if they don't want you to talk, you've been on hiatus. It doesn't matter that you've been on hiatus, Jason, because nobody ever watches on Periscope anyway. So most of my traffic now is on YouTube. So, my Periscope traffic is going down, not up. It's going down. I'm not a bad person, though. Yes, that nerdy art. Do they care? They say if you talk certain topics, then you must be a bad guy. You must be a conspiracy theorist. We're gonna keep an eye on you. This is the Sucked Up. I know you're on Periscope, the man to listen to, but the problem is the big numbers on Periscope are a thing of the past. Unless I open my bobs. So unless I have open bobs, it's not gonna happen. Do you have any opinions on the recent Bitcoin creator saying he's going to reveal who he is to everyone? That's I've heard that so many times, Donnie. I don't really, I'll believe it when it's proven. They don't want us to figure out. They don't want us to figure out the truth. The problem with this, guys, is it is to the benefit of intelligence agencies and three-letter agencies to collect this data. That's why they funded Google. Google allowed all these search engines and everything to be collected about each and every one of us. And they are just laughing in joy and saying, look at all the work we don't have to do anymore. All we have to do is Google everything, and we will know everything about you. And then we can connect to Facebook and see what else you do and go track your movements and so on with all these commercial databases. And we don't even have to work too hard to track each and every person. And we can profile you by category and thought and say, you guys are just a bunch of Democrats here, a bunch of Republicans here. There's a bunch of QAnon fans. Here's some InfoWars guys here. Here's some Antifa over here. You can actually go identify even subgroups. It's crazy. So then they can manipulate that group and say, okay, well, what do we do with these guys? Let's shut them up. So this is kind of the world that we're dealing with here, and our response is, enough. There's too much of this going on. I can't stop it. I'll just ignore it and go have my normal iPhone and live with my normal iPhone because I don't really care. Thank you, Nerdy. Zuck the order. Thank you, Nerdy. Thank you so much. So this is the kind of thing I am talking about. That what I'm talking about is no big conspiracy thing. It's truth. I can mention company names to you so you actually know. Who are these mercenary firms that I'm talking about collecting your data and profiling you and maybe used to identify you? Well, Palantir. In case you say, well, how do you know that? There's a sucking article in the LA Times where Palantir is working with the LA Police Department for pre-crime. There's an article about them dealing with the Chicago on pre-crime. There's an article of them dealing with Atlanta on pre-crime on various from the Guardian, from the LA Times, New York Times, Washington Post. This is not private information. It's already out there, and we all sucking ignore it, and we say we don't really care. It's not. It must be a conspiracy. Just ignore it. And this is how they get away with it. This is how they get away with it. They just ignore it. We just ignore it. And this is the reality of what we're faced with. So if they basically say, if you're not mainstream, if you don't, toe the line and say exactly what we want you to say, if you kind of deviate from what we consider to be, traditional behavior, then we're going to put you on the watch list. And, on all I ever want is privacy. This is what I do this broadcast for. I don't subscribe to any political belief. I don't tell you to, vote left or right. I don't tell you any of that. I'm just saying, I want you to have freedom. Freedom to think. I just one of the people I follow on YouTube, one of the periscopers, is a person named Amy, based Amy. So she was on YouTube, and apparently she was put on the arrest lists. You know, and I don't know what happened to her, but she was put on the arrest list, and apparently they want to arrest her for, the term was harassment, because she said negative things to a politician. When does saying a negative thing to a politician qualify as a harassment? I mean, that's the strangest thing to me. If I say a negative thing about a politician, I mean, go look at Twitter. They say negative things about Trump every single day. So it must be every day. So apparently in the UK, that's now considered a crime. It's like, Zuck. This is the way it's going to be. They're going to do things like this where you say, okay, if you speak against the government, then it will be considered a crime. Crazy. So, I don't care what you believe in. You can believe whatever you want to believe on the left, on the right. All I want is for you to have freedom, and I don't want the big entities out there to manipulate our choices and on our beliefs. I want us to be able to speak out. The UK does not have free speech. Apparently not, Joe. Apparently not. Let me just see what comments I missed there. Wasn't even on the news, Starlight. Is it a harassment if they didn't want you to say it then to them? Apparently, Mad Cow can't look up cheeseburgers on the internet without being tracked. Oh, gosh. See what I'm talking about? Every website, you should watch this. I was watching this. I seldom watch TV, so I actually watch a TV series from the BBC. It was called The Bodyguard. It was a pretty cool show, The Bodyguard, and it was about politics and the right-wing politician saying they want to take away privacy because of terrorists. Kind of like Kelp. It was kind of the movie was a pro-Kelp movie. Anyway, it was terrorists and explosions and bombs and things. It was a very good show. But what was interesting was when they were interviewing, the individual, the hero in the show, and they said, well, you went to this website. Why were you on this website? What were you doing on that website? Why did you look this person up? Why did you do this on the internet? I mean, that is pretty crazy. Thank you, Nerdy. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nerdy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Especially somebody like you or poor. Nerdy who is poor is donating to the cause. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate it so much. So that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Nerdy. Thank you. So that's what I'm. The new job must be good, Nerdy. The new job must be good. That's what I'm talking about. Is can you imagine that if I get interviewed by the government, they say, "Oh, you visited this website, this website, this website, this website." This is why I use Tor. I don't want anybody saying, "Well, why did you visit this site? Why did you look up? Why did you look this up?" And they are collecting that information, just like the movie showed that they were doing in that movie Bodyguard. And and it really, really bugs me because people watched that show Bodyguard and said, "Oh, no big deal." Kelp says it's a cool thing that we were able to have government track everything you do. Well, there's your example. So they were saying, so in this case he was being framed. And he could easily been framed just because he said, well, you went to this website. Heck, somebody could have used his device and went to the website. This is the kind of crazy stuff we're talking about. Thank you, Twitty. So, and thank you for being a patron too, Twitty. Twitty's a patron. So if you want to support the program, many ways to support the program. You can be a patron. You can do YouTube Super Chats, Periscope Super Hearts, or even better, buy an actual product for me. VPN routers, VPNs, the Brax SecureNet security systems, the Brax SecureNet alarm, and Brax SecureNet camera, and more products to come. All these new electronics will come later, and also the BraxMe app. So all of those, even going on BraxMe for free is supporting the program. Please support this fight. This fight cannot be fought just by myself. I need to grow this army of people who understands the danger of having other people take away our freedoms. We need to have the freedom and privacy to believe what we want to believe. I want you to all to believe what you want to believe, on the left or on the right, without interference, because that will balance out. I believe with free information that in the end we will all balance out. And we can't have that when somebody manipulates it so that we don't have all the information. I think that the safety of the human race and of society is guaranteed when everyone has freedom of speech. That's what I think. And you may not like what somebody says, but as long as you're free to say it, then you can fight back and say he's saying it wrong. You're free to say that. And that's what I believe in. And I believe that if there's no big player out there saying, you shut up, you shut up, you shut up, then we will all be better as a society. That's what I believe. So please support the program through all those ways that I told you, because this is all I do. This is full time. I do nothing but build these products and do the videos and do the live stream. So I've given up a lot. I could be doing programming and designing large systems like I used to do. And I don't do that anymore because I made a sacrifice to say, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do, because it's a fight I want to yes, Twitty, and I do Brax. It's a fight I want to push because nobody else is. Nobody cares, guys. So we want to, keep the fight going. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will be back tomorrow. So I regularly do live streams on Friday and Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to talk to me, it's very easy. Do not expect me to talk to you on email or any other format. Certainly no Skype. Do not call me on the phone on Google Voice. Do not do any of that. You're just not going to get a response. It'll be one-way traffic. If you want to talk to me, the only way to talk to me is very easy, is on Rob Braxman, at Rob Braxman on Brax.me. Thank you, AMG. Rob Braxman, at Rob Braxman on Brax.me. Or you can automatically go there by typing rob.brax.me. It will automatically bring you to that site, and then you can leave a message for me. It will automatically start a chat. It will tell you to set up a Brax account, and there you are. You're going to be there. So thank you all, and I appreciate it. And again, be aware of the new battle, which is the MAC address. And there are few tools to protect us on the MAC address front. Very few. It's a new battle, and we have to kind of rethink. We have to draw new lines and find some way to defend. What is that? I saw a picture of your chicken. ROV. What does exactly that mean? Are you going to post a clip of the stream relating to the MAC address? Are you going to post a clip of the stream relating to the MAC address issue? Am I going to post a clip of the stream? I have a video on the MAC address issue. I've refused to go back and work for the devil. Lost all money and everything. There you go, nerdy. So there's a new video out there talking about the MAC address, specifically about Facebook. But I'm just telling you that the MAC address can be attacked in many ways, and Facebook is just the big collection arm that is making this an intense battle. But this is just the beginning of a fight, because government entities, Randy Horton just told you that he does sell hardware to Saudi Arabia that will do MAC address tracking. He told you that. Okay, so yes, watch my video, Joe Friendly. It's brand new. It was just released last Wednesday. So again, talk to me and backstab me if you want to talk to me. There was a MAC address video during the week started spooky, but it's better to beware of danger. Yes, so that's the MAC address issue. This one is more of a general thing to tell you that it goes beyond Facebook. That's what I'm trying to tell you here. So, yeah, Facebook is collecting your MAC address. Facebook knows what you're doing. Facebook knows you've been in Walmart. Facebook knows you're at church. Facebook knows who's near you. Facebook knows that you're at the supermarket. But more than that, a bad guy can come to your house and do MAC address detection and can find out all of your devices in the house and say, oh, you have an Amazon Echo, you have a Ring camera, you have this brand of camera. Any Wi-Fi device, it can detect and say, oh, look at all these devices here I can steal. And only because of a MAC address. And it's so easy to do. You can install the software to do this on a Raspberry Pi. In fact, I'll build one. I will build one. This is very easy to do. I will build one, and maybe instead of just worrying about the building because it's already open source, come up with a way to show you the data and how you can utilize that to track individuals. And that's, maybe I build that in an old Raspberry Pi, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. If you have a VPN router, you can just change the chip, run it on a VPN router. It'll use the same software. Okay? So if you think you're wasting money with these Raspberry Pi devices, no, because you can use them for other things. So thank you for watching, my friends, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.